Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to do 25 mate in 2 puzzles and explain my reasoning along the way, hopefully finding some patterns as well. So this is on Lichess. I filtered by patterns and type, and I got mate in 2. So let's see what I got here. First one I'm seeing is queen takes pawn, rook takes, and because that rook would be pinned, rook to e8 would be mate, because the king can't go forward. And it's forcing that way. Okay? Now let's see. So forcing moves first tell me to go rook takes, king takes, queen here, and that is mate. So there's no way around that. Right? You have to always look for counter chances. So same idea in terms of forcing moves. Rook d8 check. The queen has to block, which now gives up defense of f7, and then queen takes f7 is mate. I like that one. That one's pretty. Okay. Next one. Let's see what we got here. So if I go here, queen f6, where does the king go? The king has to go to this square, and then knight jumps in, and that's mate, right? How is that different from if I go here? Well, if I go here, the rook, or the king, I keep saying rook, the king goes to f7, and then if I were to try to bring something in, the king can try to run away. So I think it's key that I have to go here first, and that blocks these critical squares, which forces the king to this square, and that's mate. Like that. Okay, so let's see what we got here. I see that this is out, so check, king moves, and then mate. But what if I go check and the king goes here? All right, that's an important detail. You have to be aware of that. So check, king goes here. How do I prevent them from running away? Going like this. I'm saying, I gotta get out of here. So instead of going here, allowing that, you stop first at h6, allowing them to go there, and then you mate them. I think that's an easy one to go wrong with, but that's why we're doing them. So this one, I can take this pawn with my queen or my pawn, but if I take with my pawn, I'm giving up this square. So let's go queen takes, and then after the king moves to this square, I have queen here mate, seeing the intersection squares. So notice that's kind of a pattern. We're starting to see it already. Forcing moves, intersection squares. Well, this is already an example of that. So forcing move, the most forcing move perhaps in the position is rook to f8 check. If the rook captures, there's an intersection square here on g7, which would be mate. And if the king captures, it's the same idea because the king can't get away. So that seems to be it. No pins, no anything crazy. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. This knight is being an MVP here and holding that square. So if I can somehow deflect the bishop away from guarding this, so deflect and then mate, because that's squared and this square is covered. Okay. So it looks like there's something happening in terms of, I'm noticing this pattern. So what if I want to deflect the knight away, right? Here, and then knight takes, but I don't see the mate immediately. Or is this mate? Pushing the pawn is actually mate. Beautiful. Pushing the pawn is mate. Isn't it nice to mate with a pawn? Pawn's a killer. Okay. Check. The pawn has to take, and then that's, I think that's called epaulette. Epaulette's mate or something. When the king is completely boxed in. It's got shoulder pads. Nice. Okay, let's see what we got here. I want to take this, right? So notice the pattern. A lot of these, what am I? I'm 10 in or so. I have to count. But the forcing move tends to be the candidate move. So rook takes. If king takes, this is mate. And the pawn can't take, which means the king has to run away. Well, the king can't run away. So that's it. Forcing moves are the key. Okay, I'm noticing a double check potential. So if that is it, what is the next move? So check. The king has to then run. And then what? And then what? Oh, what a nice one. This is such a nice one. This queen doesn't have to do a thing except help pin the bishop. Bishop here, check. The king has to move. This bishop is now pinned, so rook there is mate. What a beauty that one is. I missed that when I first looked. I'm looking for queen mate. I'm looking for queen here, and then I realized the queen could block. Oh, that's a nice one. I like that one a lot. Can you tell? So I want to just go rook here and mate. I feel like that's a little slow, but I think that's actually going to be it. That's my instinct. Right? How do you defend this pawn? If your king tries to run away in one move, so if I go here and they run there, that doesn't actually stop mate. If I go here and they promote, that's not with check. And they have no checks, right? This can't go. This queen is great and all, but this queen can't make any motion. This can't promote to a knight or anything. I think that's going to be it. Look at that. That must hurt. Okay. So we have two things here. We have two types of deflections. This bishop is trying to do something, I think. So this square right now is being threatened, right? Well, same idea with this square. If I can get my queen to this square, it'd be mate. So by throwing my bishop to g3, one of these two pieces has to take. If the queen takes, they give up power of the e2. And if the rook takes, they give up control of the f1 square. Beautiful. Look at that. All right. I think I said 25 puzzles. I'm getting close. I'll count in a second. I think by the end of the screen here, it's around 25. So let's see. I want to just take this. And then where do you go? You go here, and I go there. Can't go there. Nope. I take this. You go, yep. Take this. You go here. How about I go there? Recycle the placement. I think that's it. I think that's right. It appears to be right. They can't interpose. They can't interpose with anything. Let's see. Take, that's a check. They have to get pulled away, and that's mate. Notice how my eyes went right to that forcing move first. Right? That's all about forcing moves. Let me ask myself a question. Yes, I was going to ask myself, what if they check me? Well, they're in check. They can't check me. That's against the rules. All right. Oh, this one looks a little interesting. I tend to not like these knight rook ones. I feel like I miss them sometimes. So rook here is my first thought. And then after they go here, what do? Look at this. Oops. Look at my arrow ability. Bishop there. That cuts off this square. Look at that. That is so nice. Imagine seeing that in a bullet game. Well, I would not tell you that. I think you have to check and then force the rook to take, which gives up control of this square, and then you mate. It's like a smothered mate, kind of. Like a semi-smothered, because there's no pawn there. All right. Same idea here. Hey, that's mate. And they go, no, it's not. And you go, yeah, it is, on the back rank. Beautiful. Beautiful puzzles. These are so much fun. Man, can you tell that I love chess? Can you just tell? Check. And then what do? You have to block. You block with something, I take it. Simple move, right? Am I missing it? Am I missing something? That seemed a little easier than the other ones. Okay. I want to check you, but then you go there and you kind of hide. So what if I first force a check? Bishop sacrifices itself. And if you take, I mate you. If you don't, I still mate you. Notice the forcing moves. I guess I could have taken with the pawn, right? In that case, too. Let's see here. I'm not seeing it immediately. I see that I can check. So this is what I was just saying, right? About forcing moves. My eyes look at this move first. Knight takes check. The rook pretty much has to take, or else they resign. And then what do I have? Oh, see, it's the move order. It's the move order. Look at this. Rook to e1 check. The rook is being pulled away. And now you take on f2. What a beautiful puzzle. Man, I'm loving these. These are really cool. Okay. Same idea. As a check, I'm forcing. Ooh, that's a nice one. So knight check, and obviously if you take, I capture, and that's mate. So the question you have to entertain is what happens if they don't capture? So knight check, and the king moves. And if you take with the queen, thinking that's mate, hey, it's not. They just capture your knight because your queen's here. So what that means, you have to actually capture with your bishop because this is protected by your queen, and your queen is pretty much the MVP in this case. And then that square is covered by the knight. Okay, let me take stock of how many I have here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23. This is 24. And then I have one more after this. Well, that went by fast. This is enjoyable. Hopefully you're having a good time. So I think I want to check you first. Or do I want to check you first here? What a good one already. This is a good one. Hopefully I don't get any wrong, right? So I'm noticing this square, and I'm looking at forcing moves. Well, there are two moves that are immediately check with the knight. There's one that's check with the rook. So I have to consider which one I want to do. So if I check with the rook, they have one move. Let's consider that. They have that move. And then I want to move the knight, right? It seems like it. But then my rook can just pivot right here. And the knight is actually covering these squares. And the rook's covering these. So that's going to be it. I think the temptation is to move the knight in that puzzle. But you don't have to. Okay. What is this one? Check. Rook interposes. And then you have to give mate with the knight because the rook is pinned. Look at these puzzles. These are amazing puzzles. I am loving this. Look at that. That's a tough mate. If you get hit with that, that's tough. I think that was it. That was 25. Excellent. Well, I had fun. I think that was really useful, right? It seems like the theme was about forcing moves and being able to understand the candidates in those positions, right? Forcing moves is obviously the key, but intersection squares, being able to see the tactics behind things, it was wonderful. So I really enjoyed that video. Hopefully you did as well. 25 checkmates, 25 mate and twos. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like on YouTube and consider subscribing. Half of the income goes directly to charity, so I'd really appreciate it, and you'd be helping a charity out as well. That's it. Thanks so much. Bye.